I'll mute. Patrul Rinpoche Sungpe Chunju Kumrim Rapsal Nimare De La Ta Tunzen Shi Yubi Nane Tanda Ngazon Jorwa Are De La Parul Dushima Chu Yubi Nane Ngazo Ngaba Samdunje Parul Dushima Re Tinanda Kashe Shu Chubche Kazange Chwetne Kale Mala Shugayin.
Please start by giving rise to pure intent that of bodhicitta, thinking that you will dedicate the studies for the sake of all beings in order to bring them to the state of perfect awakening. And then in that spirit, listen to the teachings. We're studying a text which is a step-by-step guide to meditating on the way of the Bodhisattva, composed by Patrul Rinpoche, titled as The Brightly Shining Sun. Here among the four main topics, we are looking at the third one, which is concerned with the practices of the Bodhisattvas, namely the 6 paramitas. And among the 6 paramitas, we are right now still looking at the fifth one, that of meditative concentration.
대신도 다다 신 대신도 다다 냠발라 때는 렌선 콤바야 다다 냠베 자이네서 라니 샤 랑네서 자데 샤라 자데 조타다게 코네 달은 렘버 콤보 콤데 조나 대다고 삼바 중데 랑 타르 콤네 현지 뇌바당 렌선 제버 콤발라 양 대다고 동알 조나 현라 뇌바당 렌선 잘 갈라룸 냠네 렌선 랑실 요로사 어다디 가장된 가서 차도 구매나 능이다 제고 지장들과 그 사자당디 제고 잡자마도 봐 겁나 제고 지장을 되래 다디 렌즘 검용도 검사 율도 폐제 소소냐마다와 소소 더워도 근데 소소지 저거이나 다 저거 많이 봐 이나야다 간다 내가 제단당 아니 톱 코네라 소바당 파제 소소다 냐바 다와 여바이나 아니 남편 좀 지게질라 젠섬 쇼춤부 주는 거요래 아니 덴제지에는 가스 네 다소소이 남윤 미 가시질라 젠섬 제닝 여바 다나야 제신바 임바 덴제지 여나 아니 미디다 소소니 가서 그래 제월로 그래 미디 사절라 라니 사절라 미디 샤네 아니 소소죠 콜라 젠섬 집에 가면 콜라 내가 뭐게 그 말라 사야다 소소 칸라 야가 차야지도 미치칸이 식다면 셰줘도 좀 섬노다 아니 류지번에 콜라트네 내가 자주 담을 탑시다 간에 탑시다 메다 지번에 콜라 강에 망고 저주니 다 거기 파주다 소소지 파주제 미셴바도 소소 검대와 근데 파주는 소소를 되네 강에 망고 저주 섬로 테마 망보지 다네 내가 강 톱톱 지고네 자기가 섬로 망고 당고 그래 근데 섬로 땅 용도 딱 되는 양식 그래 아니 네 간단한 섬로 땅 와서지 뭐네 말아와 당다신 이지고네 저로샤요래 이지 저로네 되네 칼레트 바당 아니 덴섬 잡아다 내 콜라 록바당 콜라 되네 펜섬 잡아드네 지빌로 요데 콩갈라 되네 너버자고도 되네 저섬마로 섬섬 나서 바다 데로지 섬로당 고고 유래 되네 당도 네 되네 섬로당 와서지 또 말아 가르서 그래 섬미지 바다 메데와 연구도 원행 핵 강사 티난데 데발라 덴섬 당 내버든데 깨와 유나 근데 그 미라 강에 용사로 와. 전선 너가 제 신바이 당 제신바이나 딱 강에 된데 차요 쓰기래. 단제 매바이나 근데 가서 제선은 되네 제 강에 용사로 와. 등에 지는 저사 말을 양바들 로양 용초고 이래. 어딘데 되네 다 된저 상마조 가상 당직 바래. 아주 밀라데는 가르쳐 그러 미상마 삼로 면도 요데 전선 요현냐 요래 전선 충중 요현냐 요래 전선 첨부 요현냐 요래 근데 전선 나때는 매해양 다 용스 쓰바래 와 용스 근데 레드는 아주 근데 삼로당 저 때문에 공용도 미카시아질라 땡땡 람보데 펜도 용스 그래 펜도 용구이나 아니 그 무트네 네 가서 그래 냠는 나도나 야부 요래 나는 가실래 펜도셔라 용구 말을 펜도 용구면은 아니 가르쳐 버려 냠는데 만나나 안 돼. 제단 된대지를 정말 찍이지 아니 제가 간대도 민들이 아니 그 냠용 사이즈도 아니 도서 삼로당 안 잘 셔라 펜기면서는 거다 샤네 탑시 셴바당 쪽으로 와. 그래서
We will continue with the text where we left off yesterday on page 28. So the paragraph in the middle reads similarly. There is a meditation on rivalry focusing on those of equal standing to ourselves. In this, we take the position of an other of similar status to ourselves and from their point of view consider ourselves as an opponent. Then, as the other, we cultivate an attitude of rivalry towards ourselves from every possible angle. When we let go of this meditation, the following feeling will arise. If considering myself as an enemy and imagining the malicious and competitive attitude of others causes such distress, then what is the point of wishing harm upon others and feeling rivalry? With this, our rivalry will naturally be pacified. So this is the same kind of meditation that we have done, we have seen yesterday with the attitude of envy. So the only difference is that the position of the other, someone else. So here it's not someone who is less well off, but someone who is of equal status, maybe of equal education, equal qualities, maybe slightly better, but basically pretty much like us. And someone that we perhaps have experienced this kind of feeling of rivalry in our own lives. We can go back, find some memory of particular person, and then meditate on that person. Right? If it really happened with us in the past, or we just, if it didn't, we just imagine someone, and then we exchange ourselves with that person who is equal to us. So we exchange taking the place of someone similar, right, to ourselves. And now we will meditate from their point of view. Again, of course, it's all happening in our minds, but now we imagine how that other person is suddenly starting to compete with us, trying to get better than us, and basically trying to get better by any means, like harming us, spreading some malicious gossip about us, slandering us, so that only they will be better, not us, right? If we keep thinking in this way, it's kind of, we need to repeat this. If we don't do it just for one moment, like imagining, we really have to go back and forth, really imagining how nasty it can get. And then we pause and feel, what do we feel really when we imagine someone is really doing this kind of things to us? We think, well, I have been only kind to this person. There's nothing that I have done. And yet here they, she or he is competing with me, trying to harm me. And all of this creates so much distress and suffering for me. And yet this is only happening in my mind right now. I'm only thinking of this situation, only imagining it, how difficult it can really get in the real life, how unbearable it can get. So we really feel that feeling. We allow ourselves to feel the feeling. And that will allow us to really generate that sincere wish, like, wow, that feeling of rivalry, putting someone down, so just to get better than others is awful. It really creates so much pain and distress. And so feeling that way, it will help us to pacify our tendency to competitiveness. Some do have this natural tendency to compete with others don't. So it's not necessarily a problem for everyone, but still, it's a method, and we can apply it and see if it works for us or not. Yeah, we can just try and do it 1 or 2 times and see what kind of feeling arises. What is our experience with this particular practice? And if we feel like, wow, it's really helping, I feel less afflictive emotions, is great. By all means, we should take it up, right? And practice in this way. But if we feel it's not really helpful, then it's okay. We can look for other methods.
So, yang 대신 ngajal komba yang rang we mawi leso tani sha rang leso rang we mawate sha la xian to wate rang mawate la rigda yunden so yunden la so be ko ngajal chedu shu komde tsarwa na tala shin ngajal komba na deta wo tungal chun na te chire ta ge xian la ngajal char kala rung nyam do ngajal ngo ni ji hior gyuro sa ane ta de tsangma nga zo shine ndo ji changje sem dang de lue ni shine kombu yo ba yin de shine komde Tenpa Xexin Hajang Kachumbo Shuji Chaguyere. Also Soso Joe Indusan, Soso Naja, Soso Cheshabi Tado, Soso Cheshabi Jensen, Denzo Teddy, Guninda, Yundenin, Sharan Gotsugumare. Soso Lega Mambo Chedan, Nesul, Chilson Aladak, Azokale Mobo Champion Doko, Yundu, Kapashan Najachi Yudu, Soso Yundenin Bato Chitengre. Kapala Tado Chabadi, Java Sudun Nimbachi Tengre. Kapala then Jensen Chabadi, watching Tabares and then the Temba Younger. That is the younger at the Temba Station, the Lamson Sen, what I did Tado, the Jensen, the Najare. The Narangla and Kalategrela, Mishana and Kalategre. Denzo ye Narang Ancient Tamji Karasovare. Lui dans sem la kalete ba samase so yi leng ba sabachi gire ne leng be de number member de sala mingi mare tola mingi mare pumbang ay gyun la mingi re pumbang ay gyun ji kansa shenji gyun la mingi mare narangi pumba gyun la mingi ko gire tende temba sheshin ji sin yong lu ne namsang wa de ngajal re du sin ten ngajal de temba sin yong lu ne so chibu lo yo ba 네 갑자기 잡아 야나다 가주 제당 신의 검사대 마사지 될 검조던 될 검조보다 여 말에 될래 당법에서 찍보여나 야보셔라와 딱 갈래갈래 또저 정дар 망보체 사주이나 마사지 가와리나 검도부터 그래서 삼로 단날 학벌도 준준한 셰신네도 저 삼로 다에 망보래도 삼로 다에도 그 가와리 당 축으로 와 그때 구성부 수미수지 매바 이제 거기 차박하면도 면 가시 문망부에서 담나 소소 디삼로 당토 그래 디네 남성 sem 칸나로 거네 근데 삼로 다에 나니 나잘 콤바이나 아니 가서 그래 나잘 검사당 예제체서 미 파주니디 제올로나드네 파주기 미드 소소르드네 예제체바다 톱제체바다 나잘 강경원의 나잘 제바 리고네 지구베 나 톱코네 지구네 지구바르당 윤된 지구네 지구바르당 다 라소바다 강다강 지구바 딘나바디 삼로다네 파주도솔 네 나잘 지구네 예제 방보체당 네 톱자 마보체바 제교제 검 소소지 마제비 내가 연양 파주는 솔로 제교도 좋다 망보 휴지네 예제 제교 망보제 검초그래 검 아니 디네양 가서 삼로 제초로 내가 제초서 말에 제나 밀라드네 강에 연구 요사래 내가 삼로당 와서 이제 갈려는 거서 제바 있는데 인다인 다디 가르서 그래 제나 드사민도가 삼삼로지 돌아 계속 들어와 아니 대양 된지나지 무튼에 남는 제 톱다마도 강사 소소라네 달래 그러와 데레지 소나
Awesome. So it's important to remember context of these practices. Here, we are developing bodhicitta, and it's part of our training in meditative concentration, right? Here we are developing or practicing shamatha by means of employing this kind of contemplation, on bodhicitta, developing bodhicitta by giving up our pride, jealousy, competitiveness by means of these contemplations. But since this is part of practice of meditative concentration, there are two important elements that should be present. It's mindfulness and vigilant introspection. And they are really important also in the context of this kind of contemplations, because often as we go through our days, we don't really notice when we get proud or jealous or we compete with someone. And even if we notice, often we don't really see a problem with them. We might not even be aware that they are, what kind of negative effect they have on us and our surrounding. Sometimes we just do our job and we feel those feelings, but we kind of don't dig and don't try to analyze, and we don't really even recognize, are they really positive, are they helpful, or maybe they are not. right? Sometimes even we might think, oh, they are really helpful. Like at work, I need this kind of competitiveness. I need to get better than others. Otherwise, how will I, how will I improve and get better positions? So we think they're needed, they're helpful. Oh, but with our practice of meditative concentration, the more mindfulness and vigilant introspection we have, the more we can spot them right when they arise, when they pop up in our mind, whether it's pride or whether it's jealousy, and immediately, and then see the effect. We can also, with vigilant introspection, so we develop in this meditative, right, quality that we can recognize things whenever they experienced, and we can also recognize the effect they have on us, because we are much more sensitive now to see what is happening, right? When we get proud, when we get jealous, now we can see, and we can also be more, we become more observing in terms of our environment, and so we actually also more careful, because we see that, oh, right, actually now I can notice how it affects others. Right, when I'm like that. Before we might not even notice, but now with the qualities developed through meditative concentration, we can see, right, spot on, that this was really not helpful. That's what we can recognize. There are things that we cannot recognize but are still at play, such as karma, right? And when this kind of afflictive emotions take, better of us, like kind of have the upper hand, we lose our bearing and we carried away with these afflictions. We might not see, but actually what's happening is that adds to our bank of negative karma. And eventually it will ripen not on anyone else. It's not going to ripen on the stone, on the earth. It's actually going to ripen on my own aggregates, body, feelings, emotions, consciousness, and so on, perceptions in the future, this kind of continuum of my aggregates. That's where it will ripen. And so therefore, it's really helpful to do practice in this way, do kind of develop our concentration and meditative qualities of mindfulness, and vigilant introspection will help us while we go through our daily activities. But there's no such thing as, oh, you're not allowed to meditate in this place, right? It's not allowed. So it's not like you can't meditate at work. But for beginners, it's kind of recommended to meditate whenever we are alone. It's harder to meditate amidst the busy crowds, right? So of course, it's not like, oh, it's not allowed, you shouldn't even try, but it might be harder for beginners. But here, because this is not a formal meditative concentration of shamatha where we like really sit down, right? And we need this peace and quiet, but it's more like of a contemplation, a reflection. We can do it wherever we are. So this practice is great that whenever we like, even amidst people, we just need to pause. We don't need to close eyes. We don't need to freak anyone out, right? But when if we're at work, we can just like kind of slow down inside, sort of just turn gaze inwards and see, oh, okay, that's what I'm feeling right now. Just be present with ourselves, with our experiences, even when we are amidst other people. And then we can see, oh, okay, I'm so proud right now, right? So then we can again do this kind of meditation when we are proud, as the text reads. Again, following the same principle, there is a practice of cultivating pride, in which we are in the position of an inferior and other is our superior. As the superior other, we cultivate feelings of pride based on our superior family, better education, and so on. When we finish the meditation, we will think, if considering the arrogance others feel towards me creates this much distress, then how can I feel arrogance towards others? With this, our arrogance will be naturally pacified. So perhaps that's what we notice, and we can do this practice again, even when we are surrounded by the people. Exactly, that's when we are provoked and triggered, and we might feel pride. And then when we do, we can just exchange ourselves in our minds with this other person, right? And now it's them who are better off than us in terms of education, their learnings, their qualities, their status, their intelligence, whatever it is, yeah, what we feel maybe about ourselves, right? Let's do that. Imagine that someone else now. So we have exchanged ourselves with this other person, and now we are in the inferior position, and this other person who is superior to us is looking down on us. It's actually belittling us and having this kind of contempt and really kind of looking down. And how much, when we feel that someone despises us or like doesn't respect us, really like belittles us, well, we know how much, and actually pain and distress we feel. So that's kind of what will help us to understand that, well, when I feel arrogance towards others, that's just awful. And in this way, our arrogance and pride will be naturally pacified. Again, we're just doing it by thinking, and it's already so much, of emotion, of distress. So then we can think, wow, when it happens in real life, it's even more so. So this that's perhaps, yeah, the way to implement this kind of practices if we find them helpful.
대답 기준 십도 전중의 제다 송화신 냠줄랑브라 자오 대점 공부 미니베 뒤데 공부르나 렌젠 창원데 달라 대답 뒷민신 다데 말루 대미주 지스 심진 가시 양 강도 마조 대세도 대질라나 멤버의 장줍도 변내 줄지 근데제 아니 다 가서 단다셔주 난전 이동다 된도 따따때 세당 만담도 돈 어디 저바 인도 전주 나라 십자진의 송유바 인도 따디나라 된조 단다 흉딘 나셔주 암 전주 나라 송주 나지 제바 겁나 되그래 대양 가서 그래 팬도 저기 매바이나 양 가서 그래 나서 다신 지역이 냠는세다 탑 셴바양 유래해서 난다 kumarin jen chawan nana shun tsonje roi na ani karasa gore te song sha doa nga la doa ri do samjen tham je gi tungal ta nga zo jaba tuji gi tungal ina re gyu ri tungal ina re tungal ima ina da tungal tham je tang tungal gi gyu ta lunga ye som je che sha be di le nyamba da te gyu ani karasa gore nyomong ba 간달 레다 녀몽바 균제다 제버서고 용조 하는 알아 멤버 쇼지 민나 지마룬 야메로지레 아니 되는 소소지 가서로 두숨도 집이 대화당 네 두숨도 용 엄마 냥 있음 바다는 용 마음은 용줄 대화 아니 디규 개위 잡아서 그러와 네 개와 강다 강연 봐다 개와 당 레다 개와당 대화당 소소지 다 약바 발폰좀 써봐 약비 저 탐제 되는 섬제 담줄로 톰나지 마로 토버쇼 보다 된대로지 rinjinamun chawana xiezo di tende samchire tende tobar sho tomna chi marung tende samlo tangni tendo di so da rinjin chawa di gongpa ro tendo chire ni jisi simjin gashi ya kangdo maru tesu te teji lana me bayi changchu to ni ta di simjin tamchi sanje goba ma to bi pado nge simji ki tungal tamchi so la lang nge dewa dang gewa zamba khonsu la te yi tabshi tangi tomna chi marung tobar gyur chi sim tende ngane che 이게 삼 근데 근데 저래도 양 남가지 차대고 이래 양딱 가서 때서 미과당 집에 돈을 소소지 삼도당도 연나 그냥 우울라 미과당은 줘야 돼 그러나 소소지 가서 그래 다디 소소지 뒤숨도 소be 개와이 나는 대와이 나래 근데 상마 까르보지 남반네 가서 나고 예반에 발라 튼송전 나고 예반에 튼윤데 섬제탐절을 튼튼드 광다 다와지 왜 샤르주나 저 까르보 참함진데 섬제탐절을 포송 벽도 내 대화다 기부나 개와 탐지 컨트롤 톱송전 안에서 꼭 졸라 뭐인데 나고 연반에 졸라 왜 낙보도지 가서 그래 왜 낙보 편나 tuwa nakbo tunjo so rojirwa. O dende jiwa namba rojine, ane sozi naku na ju song, ju yundu simjin tamji ji tunga da megewa yongzo, ane sola lang yin, nara la lang song de, dende chini kwara kiamdan digiri, yang naku yeyun ki kebar ma cheba che, jidang wei chigbu la samlo tangan digiri. Naku yeyun ki kebar che na yan digiri, tadi kasa kore, peche mendo dang, lama mendo, menga mendo, mangbo ji lebi ngurwa, di kebar inji minji chirang cheko basan tende chabuda yo kasuguru chaba yo mare tende mikwa che tena yang rigi yore ni rinjin changwa sungi tanda su tende roji mendo deke che yu sonam di kaldi di la sujin gyuru kange chama nyegi ata di chel yun dik sare kaldi di changchub top jan ne gyuru chik wadi badun naso.
And then our text continues, and it reads, we can practice this by following the detailed descriptions given in the introduction to the way of the Bodhisattva itself. If we are unable to do these meditations and we would like to do a brief form of the practice, we can consider the quotation from the Precious Garland. So then the quotation is, may their misdeeds ripen on me, may all my virtues ripen on them. As long as any sentient being anywhere has not been liberated, may I remain for the sake of that being, even if I have attained unsurpassed enlightenment. So there, if we would consult a more detailed explanation given in the Bodhicaryavatara, we'll see that the way practice is carried out here is basically just slightly different aspect, but in essence they are the same. They come down to the same thing, but the practice itself is done in a different way. So we can see what works better for us, right? And then choose and engage in that way. But if this type of practice of exchanging ourselves with people in the superior, inferior, or equal position, if that practice that we just done, and that's the one that's explained in detail in the way of the Bodhisattva, if that does not work for us, then we can consider doing the exchange of self and others in the different way, explained in the Precious Garland, and as it is said here, right? So we make an aspiration, may their misdeeds ripen on me, may all my virtues ripen on them. And we can practice in a way of sitting down, right? And then bringing to mind the suffering of all beings, wherever they are, the suffering, the obvious suffering of pain, right? And of this very gross level suffering, more subtle suffering of change, where everything is changes, nothing can remain the same, and this more subtle suffering that just pervades the whole of samsara because everything is conditioned. We can bring to mind the negative karma that everyone has of their body, speech, and mind, whatever they did, said, thought, and the causes of the negative karma, which are the afflictive emotions. And then we make the aspiration, the heartfelt wish, may that ripen on me. May it really leave all those beings. May they be free of that pain and suffering and the causes of that suffering and ripen on me. And then we continue thinking that may all my happiness and bliss that I have experienced in the past or experiencing now, or even what I will experience, and the causes of my happiness, which is this great virtue, wholesome deeds, everything good and great that I have ever done with my body, speech, and mind, may all of that ripen on other beings, so we then give it to them. So we give them our happiness and joy, and we take their suffering upon ourselves. So we recite these lines and we think in this way. But we can also, if we want, combine this kind of thinking with actual visualization and the practice of breathing. So when we do the breath meditation, now we can employ the special visualization that goes along with this kind of practice. We can, for example, imagine that all our goodness, our happiness, our bliss and joys, all of that takes a form of this white radiant light, like the moonlight. And when we breathe out, for example, we can choose a specific nostril, like right nostril. It all leaves our right nostril, all our happiness, goodness, as this, in a form, this brilliant, shiny light, white light, and it radiates out and it dissolves in all beings. And then when we breathe in with the next inhalation, this kind of suffering and pain of others, right, with the all afflictive emotions, take a form of this gray, dirty smoke, and that dissolves into us for our left nostril. And so we can alternate in this way, or we can involve both nostrils. We don't need to choose specific one. We can just, like, when we breathe in for both nostrils, right, all this gray smoke with all the non-virtue dissolves into me. When I breathe out, it's the light that goes towards all beings. There's this different, slightly different way, right, which nostril and so on, that comes from different scriptures and different lineage traditions of different masters, but it's not a mistake to do it in either way.
Duce yang ane tashin chewe nyamlen konda shamba ne karso gore u jingub je denda rang tanda sheba najana che mego wa che an so dan dewa dan kibu dan yabu denda chungwa yina ne samje tamje ne de nashin dewa dan kibu denda ne tomna chi marung ne dewa kibu de samje tamje lo tobar sho di kyu dan cheba khonzo lo tobar sho che ne tenda nang kap khashal la sozo yu tungal dang kange de nyong sigire de ga so ta di tungal di ten do samjen tham je gen dewa ka tungal dang kange tham je dagarang ye min ne dagarang ge tune konzo suji tungal nyom me go wa che ne tungal dagarang gi konzo tungal tham je dagbar kyurji dagna chi marung dawa kyawase dang je bon nam ge jinju lobshi so ten de ro ji chen ne sozo ki do kari chung na yang dirang thone 아니 가르서 그래. 다시 저 냠는 체 근데 양 무슨 바지야 요 말해. 맞어.
Then there's another practice of doing the exchange of happiness and suffering without employing this kind of visualization, even this kind of thinking necessarily. But basically, it can be done at any moment of our life whenever we feel especially happy or sad. So whenever, for example, we are doing really great and we are just feeling so elevated, in such a good mood, we feel happy or joyful, prosperous, whatever kind of fortune befall us, and we feel successful, whatever it could be, right? This kind of just great feeling. We right away make aspiration, wow, may all beings experience exactly the same happiness and causes of happiness, right? May this goes to all beings and they experience the same. And so we share in our minds, right? We make aspiration that others also were to experience it. And whenever we feel really down, sad, we can say, just suffering mentally or physically sick, we can also make aspiration, may all the suffering, pain, stress, depression of other beings ripen in my stress, depression, and suffering, so that no one else needs to experience it, but through my suffering now, I'm going to purify the suffering of others. It's like it's enough. So from my suffering, I kind of want the suffering of others will ripen in my suffering, and so everyone will be free of it. So from my suffering, then I'm purifying, it for everyone else. We can train our minds there. This is a mind training that whenever we are feeling great, we feel like may other beings feel it. And when we feel down, we feel like may others don't ever experience it, and may it kind of ripen and get exhausted from my pain alone. so that others will be free of that.
Rede tako ngazo di mibak dene chene semji tsal chondang di rinpa chi chagwere. Rede ta kale tene rinpa di yarje cheru luna tene yang chanche samba yinanda, chanche samba mayinba yinanda dashin chewe nyamne de hyuk chombo gomgen kansa chi yina. Ani ngosu tene jetuba tene yongtubgere. Pe na ngoma karasabore.
Khenpo karegi nyamlenpa
Dakshin chewe
dinyosu
nyamne.
chetokere.
Dakshin chewa shenji tungal ranjila lang. Ngosu dende laya dende ya yongere. Tadi ko nyamne nongbo chena. Mi kashe dende yongtu gere. Penna ngoma lama chi ko mi mongbo dhamno chöshe deyo sare. Chöshe de bikabla. Ene lama di chöshe sacha chilo debala dene lamga la dogen cheji le mi shenpa chigo de chedi la dene doji kyabin sare. Doji kyabin de lama de lamsa shokjina mala ri songre. Atsa salamla chala dene chidi toposo sacha di dhamrang lama je kyabdela maje te ngombo roche chato yore. Kansa lamsang kwa nyamlen mongbo dajin chewa nyamlen shuk chomba chana lamsang tungal de lang togo yore. Lang de chidi la nenda kanga de kaya yungu mare. Ta dende dajin chewa nyamlen mongbo chegan hajang shuk chomba chegan che ne tokpa togo shakso na. Ko inji meji 장주 samba ingo be chaba yo mare. 장주 samba ingo yin kare. Mayin na yang. Ne dende dajin chewa langken logyu ngoma mongbo shadare. Ko dende chungiro. Ne mila ribe ye namdam nana yang. Dende karasa gore. So jedang sozo ji ngazo je ne naza mila te dang mi ne naza sula laya sakane mekyo rao re de. Ya karasa gore. Dajin chewa nyamlen la rao togen soji. Che tube doa mila ki 네데 작라 땅 용두 도 타마 도시에는 정로와 도시에도 도도 작라 봐 빼가 그래서 그래 작배는 작으로 털어버려 작 털더니 라마 샴바지고 데다 거기 주주를 들 예체 민도 전제 아니 나서 중중지든 되네나 자라랑에 빼고 자랑 간데 중중지 인사라도 네 거기 빼면서 나서 휴좀 잡으러 데인데 팔아 빼 술로 빼야지 용그래 당신 저 냠는 tellatini karsore ya zaltun sembam yarde tarchimba yina dene yungu yosare temina tamang azo sem chuen je remba samra madoba ngosu petube de ngazo ji kala khabarwa maso.
Yeah, generally, this kind of practices of taking the suffering of others, giving our happiness, is not going to result in actual exchange that others will get our happiness and we literally will really take their suffering, right? And they will be free of it. For now, actually, for now. For as long as we haven't really perfected this practice. When we just train in this practice, it's more like a mind training. But eventually, when we really, we can say, reach specific level with this practice, like when we really trained our mind to the point that it will become, actual practice for us, not just training. Like at the point when we have perfected this practice and gain control over it, then it will be possible to actually exchange suffering and happiness with others. And there are stories, multiple stories with many different practitioners who were able to actually do that kind of practice for real. Like in the past, there was a teacher who was giving some teaching sitting on a throne, and someone in the audience threw a stone at a dog, right? So the Lama at that moment just like fell from the throne and was holding his hand to the back, kind of like, whoa, that was really painful. And then when people were like, whoa, what happened? And they looked, there was exactly, in the same place where the stone hit the dog at the back, the Lama also, the teacher, had a bruise there. So it was actually capable of taking that pain and suffering upon oneself so that the dog would be freed of it. And it's not necessarily, for only bodhisattva, like actual bodhisattva, this practice is going to have these real results. Anyone can train oneself to the point where it's really possible to exchange suffering and happiness with others. We have seen this from the life story of Milarepa. At the end, he was dying because he was poisoned. And so the poison spread already in his blood, but he was still kind of sitting joyfully giving teaching, although, it was already all spread in his whole body. And someone asked, isn't it painful? He's like, yeah, it's a bit painful, but I'm not sure if you try, to experience it, how it will be for you. And so the other lama's like, okay, let me see. And so Milarepa was able to transfer his experience, his actual experience, to this other teacher who was like, wow, overwhelmed with the amount of pain and that physical pain. But for Milarepa, it was not as much, but still he was capable of transferring it. So we see that from his life story, and we've heard these kind of situations happen with other practitioners who have trained themselves in this practice to the point that it will become real experience for oneself.
Nangba mixer dene ke mare lama kasore lama ji jungdo sai baba se lama de kongi nyamnen zo dashin chiwe nyamnen re peje kuze kangbo dashin chiwe nyamnen chigo nane pebure mi kange da ne nazo yuna lamzang nazo de kongu chula lang kabol kongi shabnyung kabol unyung kabol kazo chenyung so tene chine kong meze cha song ro 가서 미 셴바 동아 삼아 콘로 랑제 미 셴바 동아 다가랑 매버 소고여래 근데 다신 저 냠내 망보 나나 그거 인지민이 장주 삼바 인거를 잡아가면도 네 사이버버스는 남아도 배단 상제다 장주 삼바인데 또 말아와 난 공부면서 또바 도래 냠내 공부 도래 다신 저 냠내 하정 도래다 근데 제 두 번째는 요래 맞아.
So we do know that there are such, practitioners of this practice that are capable of actually taking upon oneself all the suffering and misdeeds and negativities of other beings and give their virtue, their happiness, merit to others. Like in India, there was the teachers like such as Baba, whose main practice was this kind of practice of exchange of self and others. And he was taking suffering of other beings who were coming to him, whatever suffering, some, like some broken leg or like, some pain in the eye. And so slowly he was taking it upon himself. And so he's kind of also withered and passed away. But we could see that what happened is that he did practice this kind of exchange for real, that he was capable of helping other beings through this practice, taking their suffering upon oneself.
karma chik nye chik dine samla tangwa zamji nya so nam kazo yore la na ta jidini kamji ganga sang chuwa ganga di azo teka chubi sonam da kaldi dila suk yor na ta sonam da suk ji namba roje sogar chaba na ganga di dine chema ganga chema nye dine jidin kamji ta ganga kamji chema le jan laga yore sebi dejare ganga zambo ling dawadan tongzum jigdenda namga khwarala xiong munibi sonam chumbo yore sonam suyo na chedu sonam shuhoji chumbo sago yore ta karma chik nye chik dende je samla tangba yina yang azo sonam chumbo shuhoji yuba yindu gyundu ina dakshin chewe nyamling komba yina sonam yoyo karedo dakshin chewe nyamling komda tabshe mangbo dowa inji meni shenje sajila rangsha kobe chabayang kaya mindu uk jingurp tang kobe chabayang kaya mindu ko tabshe dhamina 가래 다신 저 탑심 망본나네 소소 가래 겁나는 되게 도와 어때 큰 겁나냐 소남 자좀 휴지해 버려서 된데 좀된 대지장 등지 경내 del라난 샤정도 다데 산제지다데 다신 채워들라 나오죠나 근데 대바 뭐 쉬지 나 요래서 그래서
Then the text continues. We're still in the quotation from the Precious Garland, and it says that if the merit of saying this had form, it could never be contained in worlds as vast in number as the sand grains in the Ganges. This was stated by the Buddha. And it is also apparent from reasoning. The last two lines maybe Khenpo didn't read. He just read the 4 lines of this verse where, if we were to think about this practice, and not only when it's actually, perfected to the point that one is capable of taking suffering upon oneself and giving one's own happiness to others, but just someone who is trying to do this practice in the way of mind training for 1 or 2 minutes, even that will result in the enormous amount of merit. Yeah, and if we were to try to contain that merit, and maybe compare it in number to the sand grains of the Ganges River, then we'll have to say that this merit that will be accumulated through this practice could never be contained, even in the worlds. If we were to say that many worlds will be as vast in number as sand grains, then the merit could not be contained in those worlds, in the amount of the number of the sand grains. So basically, if we say there are multiple worlds, then the merit that will come from doing this practice cannot be contained in all of those worlds. And this is not just to say, only this specific practice that is explained in the Precious Garland, where we give away our virtue and happiness and the causes, which is merit and good karma, to others, and take misdeeds and negativities and suffering upon ourselves. But it's not necessarily when we do the practice with this visualization and the breath, right? Breathing in through, breathing out through the right nostril all the goodness and virtue in the form of light, and breathing in through the left nostril all the great smoke of virtue that comes from others. So it's not only this, it can take any form and shape. Whenever we take a place of other being, right? It could be done in different ways. It's not necessarily we have to sit down and visualize this particular way. It's a mind training. It's a method. It's just a form that can help us. But the essence of practice is when we do exchange ourselves with the other being, right? Putting ourselves in their position, right? And understand how they feel, right? So it could be done in so many different ways, whatever works for us, whenever we're capable of exchanging self and other. That practice is so virtuous, so meritorious that, there's this kind of analogy given that we can't even contain the amount of merit that will result from this kind of practices.
조유 동al 강지하로 대군 달라 민규지 장주 선배 개와이 로아텔라 쥐버쇼 제 저기 돈 검신 나도 쥐버쇼 어디 전주기다 레우쥐베 몰람지 쓰그래도 또 돈다디 나는 장주 당신 제우 냠는 다라도 섬진지 동al다 동al 교대나 저 바담제 나는 멤버쇼 네 대화당 개와 전에 말씀주시는 멤버쇼지 근데 삼로당나 디그레스 다 삼로당다 리면도 된지 가시 쉬우래 된죠 가리 진진베제 상마 아주 검거래서 남나대야 내봐요 말에 이진베제 찍지부 검거래라비 내봐엔 거예요 말에 소소 강라 가와요 상마 가와요 바르단 가시 가우도단 얘나 다신 제우 냠는데 검기 거라매 대야 삼로당이라 다신 제우 냠는 때는 마검소나 따테스 칼하버래와 그 산제 고본주 톱 고도는 남 강롱지 소저된 거래 남 강롱 이거는 냠내 야르제 도 고고이나티 가서 다시 지어 냠냠면 또 가보지 거래. 김전도 가르에서도 산제 고방 또 보고요나. 네. 교토데 다음에도 베샤라베. 다음에도 베샤라데 야보지 말 보고요. 밤 야보지 귤에 보고요나. 쪽 소남 야보 쇼지 보고래. 쪽 소남 사 보고요. 바이나. 당신 제와나 당신 냐바 공부 된솔레 소남 차와 샴바지 짠요 말해. 된대제 소남 첨부지 랑신기는 가르서 그래. 탑데 maybe 아니 샤랍데 바르콘 두고 말해. 깨고 두고 말해. 다 샤랍 탑기 소남 중중중중기 네바 또스토 제 소남 뉴뉴뉴 사바이 또블라데네 다 다음에도 베샤라도 야보지 그 저야 부채 두고요 말해. 그 다음에도 또 베샤라고 야보 하고 그요 봐지 신기요 봐지. 그 냠는 야르데 주는 조금이도 메가시 그 소남 네바도 상거요 말해. 소남 네바 당거요 말해. 그견 규진 최탐제 땡르제대로와 땡들지 네바 마송선은 저 중에 거는 매바래. 규진 인지미 조정 거도 더 신체와 다 망용 잠마도 소저 답강 소저를 강 되어야마도 망용 마도 눈직 인지면이 냠는 제거래. 네마 딱바 nin kang chege be geje kemen do ka ko le chen an de gre nin de la karma khashe samlo thana an de gre de kale shada kha men do ya ene so so sam la kare phem ba du di che shen an de gre de jin so nam shu ji sa gre ene ko men me tab ji che ji ne ten den re de ge re o de ne chu so na.
The introduction to the way of the Bodhisattva says, may the pains of living beings all ripen wholly on myself, and may the Bodhisattva Sangha bring about the happiness of all. This is the verse coming from the last chapter of the way of the Bodhisattva, chapter of dedication. Each verse there is an aspiration. So we can see that this particular aspiration is also connected with the practice of exchange of self and other. Again, making an aspiration for the pains of living beings ripening on ourselves, and then giving virtue and happiness to others. So that we have seen that there are these different methods to think about the practice of exchange of self and other. We've seen the free, exchanging ourselves with the beings in three positions, with the visualization and the breath technique, without them, just making aspirations, thinking about that, and so on. So we can choose whatever works for us. Maybe we like all of them, and sometimes we do one, and then we do another. Maybe we like, and it works for us only like one specific technique and method. But if none of them really speak to us, and we still want to attain Buddhahood state of enlightenment, that would be difficult, actually. The reason for that is in order to attain Buddhahood, enlightenment comes from wisdom. The main cause for attainment of enlightenment is the wisdom, insight into the true nature of reality, how things really are, which they are devoid of truly existent self. And to gain that wisdom, that insight, we need merit. It cannot, we can't just have it right away. Some people try, they don't practice exchange of self and others. They don't practice other practices that help to accumulate merit, and they just try to have right away wisdom, just the practice of wisdom, realize selflessness. But because their merit is lacking, it's like, it's not possible. They don't have enough of this very, we can say, the positive environment, right? Kind of in a atmosphere in their mind, related to with merit, created from merit, so that wisdom can spring forth in that field of merit. That's the best way, therefore, to gain that very conducive circumstance for wisdom, a conducive circumstance of merit, is through practice of exchange of self and other. And again, everything is interconnected, right? We know that things come from causes and conditions, and the result depends on so many conditions. And so the result then of wisdom that sees through nature, which is devoid of self, of truly existing core, that wisdom relies on conditions of merit. And if we don't have it, there will be no result because everything is interconnected. So we do need that. We can't skip accumulation of merit part, all these meritorious practices that are methods, and go straight into wisdom side. We need both. We need method and wisdom. Skillful means and then wisdom. And so it's, we can't really skip the practice of exchanging self and others. But it doesn't mean that to attain enlightenment, we have to do it all day long, every day of our lives. It means that once in a while, just for some minutes a day, which we always have those few minutes, few minutes a day. No one can have an excuse of not having 5 minutes a day. Once in a while, not even every day, but sometimes we can do this practice, right? This training of the mind. And we will see already the results. We already will see the effect. It will create this kind of, very a lot of goodness. Merit is kind of like this virtuous goodness that will then propel, help our wisdom to progress. Otherwise, some people try, and they don't see any progress in their practice. Well, the reason is that they're lacking this kind of practice of accumulation of merit. So they can always use this skillful means of this kind of practice, and it will right away help them to, push them ahead on their path.
Rangjung Yeshe Institute show chombo chen ro yimna kazang azo dajin nyamba rimba jini hyuba de do chen ne dajin je nyamnen de yang nyama ka je gi tun sun ne ani kazore dajin jawa yang kazore jonjo korana sheje rimba ka je ne nyama ni sum wa den de tu zu che che ani komna yan de gre ani yang xianba ding zo yan ko nyama ka she tunda chi ni yan nyama ni sum yana dawa chi ni ta ka yaro ma den de tu zu che ne ani chang jo sum ding zo kom to ba yin na an den do chum ba she la yong gu yore ta ko ne chen na chang ju ye sem tanda ding zo kom se gen de ta le dang bo ba de ko yi ji ta ga sam lo so ye sam je de do sam lo yi ding la ne thang de sam je la ning je tu mo ma yin ba samjin latin chama mai be ning je ma je par du chang je sam yang je chin kom na do yare ta di nga zo kale kha bo yong de ane dang bo mang bo je tin zo tab je ka ya ro ba kha je je ne du zo ro je sun de te kom na do ro wa ta di je la ane tin na so zo khang le la wo da so sam la khare phem ba ane de zo kha je mu je ne gyun jang de do sha na ane de ge yare la ane du zo da ne ga ta ya de ane ka zo chang yang 다 가서 다시 저와의 나라 다시 냠바이 나라 아니 가서 두저 아니 내가 봐는 균도 아니 삼바타에 다시 또는 페이지 되게 유지래 나도 봤더니 갑같이 두저 춘도 송배 가면 냠는 뒤에도 제다돈 조사버질라 다가 살인데 요샤나 장주선 줄게 가준나요 말에 내가 가지 지장 또스 용거를 잘라도 그래 대변도 매버와 다 대지 대우문에 대 간절래 버스도잖아 다왜 현재 버전 봐서는 지고 그래 다신 자원은 다신 냐뭐니 달들래 냐마직니 다와직니 관배 랩초조 영세 칼라가 버려 다 강서 가시 연구 유지로 와 망자원은 칼라가 버려 디 다신 다왜 현재 냐마직니 용 다와직니 다시 빼 선전 인지 전부 요바 딜 세그만 균도 거기로 와 양라 그 냐마까지 인지 전부 상인은 인지 라고 요나 데트 마서 근데 다그 현재 버전 봤어도 소소 현존 주주베도 소소기 류당 소당 남나 가리나야 대zam주 자주 뭐 미세겐 현섬전 망보다 인다 섬지 찌게 쳐도 야니 가르서 그래 소소라드네 삼라 메탕 내내지 로지 레긴 거 요래 다 디말레 버도 가서 단다 가서 디질로도 말레 버도 다 콘접지 잔주기 섬데도 야르디 니마르레 신도 균 가서 그래 짱제 냠는지는 로고 요래 다 남는 신다 된데 로도 레브로 와 남친의 랩사 대릉산지 남성 랩 쪽쪽 된데 재매바래 까마치니 랩지리 냐망가 좀 랩사래 된데 가면 가시 로숨 바도 디스 장마 삼로다나 밀랩 해 요래 가시 된데 더 가시 랩 해 요래 가시 로준이나 랩 해 요래 다디 된데 가요 말 강사 소소소지 냠는 채널하라 랩 요 인규래 그래서
Thì là số Khenpo gi chik son thì dampo dang chik karesa tapdi ni mani sum dunjak chik ra so jepo gapni chena digeres chema di Khenpo gi na so ti tapdi da chik susula tap yakshu di da chik kare impa di Khenpo di chena yana kanchena do dina tets
당보 소소 장애 로라 장애 요체도 아니 가라서 그래. 배나 다신 저 전주 거란 된지 검름나 송조지 렘바숨도 와 니마 숨숨숨숨 되서르체난데 그래 돈다래래 되서테나다 네 니마 주주테나다 태버가요 마 니마 찍지테나인데 그래. 근데 진짜 장 아니 대리양 다신 저 검다 셴바된 저 니마 숨숨이는 니마 돈다래래 니마 찍지 근데 장 다디서 장마다에 대표는 소소선 대나는 제마 소소선나 가리 팬보도 야보도 대도는 균자는 모두는 너는 저기래 직제 제가 내술다 되서다야다 양 상마 제초로 농조양 용적으로
그래 니마
다시 다디
chikla
제당 균데 소저 냠는데 다신 가르서 그래 디지부 제거해 봐지 베나 네 대화나 동안 상바 섬절로 터버죠 섬지기 동안 멤버죠 디지부 균도 디지거해 봐지 양값 가셔라 양 고내술당 되서나 되는데 야 셴반 제초로 와
맞어 Khenpo dilog tsarsane samtengi di pechenala ilog akmendu
that's a lot of yore
that's like your okay. We can meditate on the meaning of these quotes and even recite them aloud if we wish. That's from the text, right? This way of meditating on equalizing and exchanging oneself and others is similar to the methods found in the writings of Sakya Pandita. We can, so how to practice, right? All these different practices, like a little bit of more, practical guideline, what to do, right? We can structure our practice of bodhicitta, of equalizing self and other and exchanging self and other in a way of alternating the different methods, dedicating a day to each of the methods. Or maybe we want to spend 2-3 days just doing one and then moving to next one. We can also, if we have time, we want to deepen the practice, we can spend 10 days just equalizing self and others and then moving to, to the practices of exchanging self and other. And there again, we can do like 10 days, for example, or 2-3 days, or even 1 day going through different levels like of this practice, for example, right? Exchanging with someone who is inferior to our position. So then we spend a day just doing that, or we can spend 3 days, or we can spend 10 days. So it doesn't matter, right? But slowly we should try all these methods. Yeah, then maybe each method for 1 day, maybe each method for a few days. Yeah, depends. But at the end, we should try all of them and see which one was the most helpful while we were doing them, which one affected us, benefited our minds in the most. And then we can choose that one and really make it our kind of more main practice, continuous practice, like spending some minutes each day dedicated to that particular method. It doesn't need to be one. It really doesn't. If person who sort of, person who has affiliation to all these methods or to some of them, we can, again, we don't need to choose. We can do all of them. Yeah, but it's just the point is see what works the best. If all of them work, great. If only one, then see which one after you've done, after dedicated some days to each of this method, see which one worked the best, and take that as your main practice of bodhicitta. Right? And then you have to train yourself daily, right? Because basically at first all these trainings are more like contrived tryings, right? A more like fabricated attempt to really feel genuine compassion. Perhaps it's not there yet, this absolutely real compassion when we regard everyone equally, and especially the main goal of this practice is to start cherishing others as more important as ourselves, really placing them before ourselves. And by others, we mean everyone without even one exception, right? Not forsaking even one being. That's really hard. That real compassion is really hard. It's not going to come from just doing these practices for a month or two. Well, for some it could. Again, there are different levels on the path. Beings are the different stage, a different level on the path, and for some, after doing this practice for a few months, they really generate absolutely most genuine compassion. But for most of us, it will take some time, even up to 3 years, for some 12 years of just continuously doing bodhicitta practice, right? The result is, the goal is that of cherishing others is more important. And that's so hard, right? It's not something really even like we can conceive of right now. But the more we train, the more we just use these methods day after day after day, it will become more and more natural. It will be less and less contrived, kind of basically fake until you make it, right? You're just trying, and then at the end, it's not anymore just mind training, it's the genuine way of being. So this genuine compassion will come from continuous practice. So what is important is not just like to do it for this kind of exchange or equalization for 2-3 days, then feel some warmth towards others, some care, feel great about that, and stop. Yeah, or do this on a cushion, formal session, then go out and forget it altogether. Yeah, go back to our habitual tendencies of how we are, kind of cherishing ourselves more than others and not caring for others. So the key point is continuity of this practice and constant implementation of this practice throughout our daily life, not only formally on the cushion. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. So it's not going to be enough to do it just for a few days, and it's not going to be enough just to do it on the cushion. So this sort of continuous application of these reflections, of these methods, for whatever methods work the best for us, will eventually result one day in the genuine bodhicitta. That genuine bodhicitta will take birth in our being, right? And then, yeah, and again, it might be only a few months for some of us, but for others it will take years. So not to be discouraged, not to have too many expectations, but just doing this practice daily, whatever method works the best, we will see already results along the way. So we already will be encouraged to do it more and more. So that's the kind of how we can do it, practically speaking.
So tether tashin yamje komsumne jamyang sabin ji sung le chungwadar koba yinla relwa namne dedang komsum chung minra tsam nanya rangi lola kang de tar kombar chawo wasab. Tashin chawo komdan naga minra kari yuna yangda sozo kang tab dewa dang sozo la kari pembadu de gomyere. Inji mini chirang komgore de chaba kan yo marwa, tende uzu tsan yo mare. Sanje ji sung chuju pongbo jeji shidong tamba song yo bare. Dedi simjini kamo mienzhao mangbo yo zang chue mangbo song re ma do ba. Shen chue chik song nan rigir wa. Chue tamje rangshi ma zhu bar tongba nire san. Daga samje song shen ngona jin rigir yo re. Mi sangme di samje chol tugu mendo wa. Di samje nyamlin yako cha tugu yo mare. Kashi di chigo samlo dangje lam nor dhokaya mangbo yo go yo re. Tenrila tena ane nga zo chue pongbo rinpa mangbo chik. ane songwa de gyumzan de re. Da che pongpa mangpa dana sabsho kare re lamna de gangsa sosolo kaya re. Sosolo pensho kare re don de sabsho re ma don. Sho chik chikwa sabu re, shenpa sabu marasana dine yo mara. Sanje song tsangma sabu dang, tsangma yagwa yin kare. Pendo che sho de gangsa sosolo kaya re wa. What in doing it? 그래서 chik injim chik rang ozu chego ba ngarang la de pembo de kyorang dirang chego re lamna de ngazo shuk che ta gre mi kha mi chik la penjo de shamba la me pen se gre ani tabshe mangbo na ne karong ji no so dam cho gre chik tabsho so ji da sanje ji sung ma ningbo zo ji kar zna sherap se gne nam jo de ta je ta yin de nyamne rimba mangbo je cheba je ta je ta ne de so so la khari pembo no so so nyamne khari ya ga yong sa re 람가 가르쳐 거라디 힘적 전에 로고도 되네 지나되는 내바 당도는 안데 굉장히 도서나 다른 되게 요래 나서
So then the text ends with, with the sentences that although it is slightly different from what we find in most commentaries, we can practice in whichever way seems best suited to our minds. So there are different methods practicing this, meditating on equalizing and exchanging oneself and others. And again, we need to find a method that is suitable for us. And there's not like one method that can work for everyone. And that's why we have 84,000 different teachings that came from the Buddha. The Buddha knew that disciples, followers, have different interests, have different mental predispositions, different faculties, different aspirations. So he didn't give one teaching. Perhaps it would be enough if he said everything is not truly existent, it's emptiness. That would be the final, the best teaching and will be enough, it will suffice. But not everyone will be liberated from receiving only this kind of particular teaching alone. Not even everyone can be benefited from this teaching alone. And some can go astray by hearing that everything is not truly existent and is emptiness. And this is the reason for so many methods and the variety of techniques and skillful means we find in the Buddha Dharma. And it's so wrong to say that, oh, this is the most profound one, the rest is not profound. This is the profound Dharma, the rest is, not so profound. Actually, whatever helps and benefits us is the most profound Dharma for us. For someone else, it might be different Dharma, and it will be so wrong to say like, convincing others, like you need to do this particular method. Why? Because it helps me. So you need to do it. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will also help others. So learning and getting to know all these different techniques and methods there, that are there for us is great, because then we can see what suits our minds the best, choose those methods, those skillful means, implement them, right, and be benefited from them. The forte of Buddhism is really that we rely so much on intelligence and analysis. So we don't just follow whatever is said, like this is the only way, and then we have to follow, right? We can analyze, we can check, we can see, we can test. So this is so wonderful about Buddhism, that we can find and what works for us and implement that in our own lives. Yeah. So then we have time for questions, and there is a question. Audrey said, okay, I will read it also for people who are online. In regards to the active visualization method of inhaling other suffering and exhaling one's feelings of happiness, would the Khenpo categorize this as a form of vipassana or developing penetrative insight? In other words, do we undertake this kind of visualization once we are advanced in our shamatha practice? Good. So, the takshin gomsul mampuna ne chikdi natsu ukdan jarne mikchen chikyor esra natsu dugnel di sususula ukjum pekapsu natsu latim tene deva dan devegula sokpa shandala ugda nyamdo tang, tene digi dijegi tapdi, dijegi di gomsul di Khenpo di esa, di hlaktondu konsulto gerepe, di jesun gerepe, di yana kainsena, di hlaktonina, tene natso dampu di susushine yakpu drubgorope di dijema nyamlen tonglen ki nyamlen di hlaktondu konsulto gerepe, tene dampu di shine yakpu drubna di jema di checho gerepe, yana shine ngoma di yan checho gerepe.
단다 다 전주 중기 송단을 때 봐이나 다디 참마 신내 나로 쭉 샤래 하동데 당매 동be 샤랍 당매 단절로 마도 봐 셴바 참마 신내나 쭉 샤래 아니 양갑 하셔라 딘조 제 상망 가서 딘난 쭉으로 하동 값 시비 값이 요래 배제 하셔 나라 디 가서 신내스도 선 남도 가야 매바 희원내 봐 삼제 lao动 딱 삼로 당데 딱저 단지 시 렘바지 요 사오잖아 용족 lao动을 주그래 양디 시비 값지 그래
Chigom chapo?
조금지 나서래 저 다디 가서 고 우징고제 삼로 당바 이나다 템바냐와 샤바 시 삼로 당바 이나다 삼로 당에 예제 강보 lao动을 주비 값지 요래 단다 가서 디 신내랑 주셔는 그래 디 단다디 가르쳐 그래 전주 가서 lao动세도서나 당매지 돈 마도 샴바도 강나 찍기요 말해 왕조 아니 가서 개회선 세지고 내비 탑 인장 참아 신내자가 요래 이 제단 초카가래 찍찍 너라베다 가요 말해 네가 저기 요래라 시장 때에서 맨도 가가 차송래
So Audrey, everyone else, here we are studying the commentary on the Bodhicaryavatara. So we're following the intent, specific intent of Shantideva, right? And how he categorizes the teachings. And according to his scripture, the way of the Bodhisattva, all these practices that we have seen, including practice of taking and sending. It's actually the name of this practice, Tonglen in Tibetan. Taking, sending. Yeah, together with the breath, we visualize this particular suffering, happiness, and takes suffering and give happiness. Tonglen. This all belongs to the category of shamatha practice. And for Shantideva and Bodhisattva Charyavatara, only practice of vipassana, of penetrative. I'll check. I have to maybe mute someone. Audrey, I think it's your.
Oh, I think it's me. Okay, sorry.
It's your cat. Yeah. Well, great. It's like I'm here. So, according to Shantideva, the only practice of vipassana, penetrative insight, is the practice of insight into selflessness. Only that, when we investigate and realize the lack of truly existent self. All the other methods and techniques of equalizing, exchanging self and other, they are shamatha because they're connected with one-pointed concentration. It's not concentration on selflessness, right? We're not here trying to investigate and see if there's a truly existent self. So it's just developing one-pointed concentration and bodhicitta with that. Right? We one-pointedly concentrated on bodhicitta, let's say. So that's why it's shamatha. But then in other scriptures, it's true that indeed this kind of practice and other practices that used a lot of reflection, analytical investigation, right? They all belong to the category of vipassana. And it is said that shamatha is only the practices that are known as kind of non-conceptual, meaning we don't conceptualize anything, right? We focus on we don't employ our thinking mind at all. So that will be shamatha. Whenever we use analytical meditations, slight analysis, it's not like here we're analyzing hell a lot, but just slight, thinking, reflection. Basically, whenever we resort to using our thinking mind, right, the power of conceptual mind, it's going to be vipassana. And shamatha would be all the practice that doesn't have that. So it's a different way to categorize. Here, Shantideva categorized differently. Penetrative insight of vipassana is only insight into selflessness. All the rest is shamatha. And it's not like one is wrong, one text is right and other texts are wrong. It's just a different way of categorizing. Mm-hmm. Did you unmute yourself because you wanted to say something? Because I don't see any more questions. Okay.
No, I'm good. Okay. Thanks for that explanation.
Okay. Do we have any more questions? Okay, no, Stefani, good. Anyone else? I think only see this. So no questions. No. Mindu. So then we will stop here. Natso Kempula, natso dis karesa sadavane Shedrub ki paralduchin pagotsu gerera. Tene natso jema sapa sang zincha yomare. Natso nimashima to yomare Kempula. Re chichina punso droma keran lasun yomi kanjena. Natso nimashi konseng di kaduina yarke zincha DJ yore. So dunta jema di zincha shi. Maton. Re. I just to translate to everyone what's happening. I reminded Kempula that next week we have only 4 classes. Remember, next week on Friday, we have already 4 days off. So next Friday, then weekend and Monday after. So not this coming Monday, yes? So this next week we have 4 classes. And it will be last classes with Khenpo. So I kind of reminded him that we will have to, we'll have to finish the Paramita of Wisdom in 4 days. I just needed to give him heads up so that he plans accordingly. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Sebe zole drowa drolwa rasho Chanjo senjo remboje Maje panam jejurju Jeba nyamba meba yang Gongne gondo berwa rasho